Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Campbell Chronicles here on our last full day aboard the Disney Fantasy. This is a sea day for us. We do have some great plans for you. To start out, we are going to be heading to Club Edge, where Jaxon will be checking it out because the next time he sails, he'll probably be either there or at the Vibe. So he wanted to check it out before we leave, so we're going to do that. And then we have some reservations at Palo for Emily and myself. And then tonight we are eating at Royal Court for our last time. Alright, as you can see here, right when you walk into Edge, you do have two massive screens that one's movies, one's games right now. I'm pretty sure they both can do both, but they're all set up and ready. Not a very big club, but it's a nice little spot for these tweens to hang out in. Jaxon on the dance floor right there. Over here you have a little lounge and foosball area. Over here you also have more games in there with the Mario Kart going on. You have a Cubbies and looks like an old Wii unit. And in this area you have an Xbox. Looks like they're playing some kind of cars game. Looks pretty fun though. I like it. And more lounging. One thing I like about this is their view. Take a look at their view. They have quite the view towards the front of the ship. I like it. As you can see, it's a sea day like we had mentioned earlier. See as far as you can see. Haha. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, right as you walk into your left is where you would see these portholes where the actual aqueduct goes by when it's running. I don't think it's running right now. And directly above Club Edge, they have the Outlook. Received its name because of the outlook that it has. It's a beautiful view of a sea day right now. They have live music. They host private parties up here. They have a little bar. Nice quiet little area. I like it. Calling an audible, we are going to do a little goofy golf before we head to Palo. But right after that, we're not going to have much time. We're going to have to go straight to Palo. Let's go play some goofy golf.
We forgot to show you at the beginning, but this is our door this time. It's quite full, but a lot of fun stuff. Now time for some Palo Brunch.
Alright, first things first, our bread service is here. A variety of breads that all used to be at the buffet style. Now, during COVID, everything's been brought to us, so we don't really have to get up. That's kind of nice, but there's also a lack of selection. But most of the times, all that selection that was in the buffet is either included in the bread service or in one of the antipasta selections. So when it comes to the bread service, you really can't go wrong here. This is one of the samplings here. It has some vegetables like a caramelized onion on top with some different cheeses. It's very soft, and they give you the oil that you can dip it in. Generally, my taste goes towards the softer breads, but yeah, all really good. So our antipastas are here. Emily went with the seafood antipasta, has some crab, some ahi tuna, some shrimp, mussel, and a crab claw. I went with the meat and cheese antipasta. Different variations of meat, including a spicy sausage and some meat from pork neck, along with some aged balsamic. So that looks pretty good. I am very excited for this. It's simple. It sounds simple. It is simple, but I'm ready. So I'm just gonna eat all these meats here, and I'll let you know which one was my favorite. In review, the antipasta, I had the seafood last time, but this time I wanted to try the meat one. And honestly, if I had to say, they were all really good, but if I had to say my favorite, it would be the one from the pork neck. Very tender, but any of the meats you tried with that aged balsamic and a little bit of cheese, perfect. Also, those olives, most of them still pitted. They were not pre-pitted. They all had seeds in them. So all very good, but just be careful. Don't bite right into one of those olives and expect it to be empty. It's not. Most of them have seeds. Emily, what did you think about your seafood antipasta?
My seafood selection was really good. My favorite was probably the shrimp and the crab. I did try the mussel, that was new for me. And the spiced tuna was amazing with the aioli that they give you. It did have a kick to it, but it was amazing. I loved it. Now it's time to try this heirloom tomato basil soup.
So this is the same soup that I had last time, and I still stand by the fact that it's the best tomato soup that I've ever had in my life. Very creamy, kind of has that sweetness to it. Perfect tomato soup.
That was by far the best tomato soup I've ever had in my life. I'm not a fan of tomato soup typically, even with a grilled cheese, but that I would order again. I don't know how to describe it. It was so creamy and good. This is apple cinnamon Mickey waffle, and it comes with a mixed berry cream on top. Just the smell of that apple cinnamon when he poured it is indescribable. I can't even talk. Indescribable. Oh my gosh. The waffle itself is way better than at Cabana's. It is flaky, but warm inside. The powdered sugar adds to it. Oh wow. That's our breakfast. Just all on its own.
Our next course is here. We got the smoked salmon eggs Benedict. They call the eggs on the toasted muffin, but it's basically eggs Benedict. It has hollandaise sauce and all that good stuff. Emily got the eggs Florentine without the hollandaise sauce. Basically like eggs Benedict without the hollandaise. It comes with the mornay sauce. So right away I cut right into this eggs Benedict, and it is so soft and so good. Ooh. I got a little bit of everything on there. Hollandaise, salmon, That's the first perfect eggs Benedict I've had this trip. That is so good, so good.
So the Florentine eggs was spinach with the poached egg and the mornay sauce on top, which was just a light cream. I really liked it. It was definitely a lighter flavor than the hollandaise, but I will say looking at Robert's hollandaise kind of made me want to have a little bit more of a juicy, yummy egg.
Okay, main courses have arrived here. You can see I have the veal and I have the penne pasta with smoked salmon. The veal has I think he says pancetta underneath it, so it looks really, really good. Presented beautifully, of course. Penne pasta, for some reason I just pictured a fillet of salmon on it, but no, I'm glad that it's kind of mixed in there. Emily with the parmesan, the chicken parmesan, looks amazing. Let's go ahead and get this started. Okay, so here's some of that salmon with the penne pasta. Let's give this a shot here. That's really good. Can't quite get the smoky flavor of the smoked salmon because the noodles and the cream really overpowers the smoky flavor of it. You can taste the salmon, but it's not a full-on smoked salmon taste. Okay, now trying the veal here. And when I cut into this, it was so tender. With a fork, you could just get this done. That's very good. If I had to choose between the New York strip steak that I got here last time and this, I would get the veal. The steak that I got here last time was just okay. Wasn't anything great, but this veal is much more tender. If you're looking for the red meat, the steak, I'd go for the veal. Just reviewing what we've eaten so far, that veal was really good. As far as what I ordered between the smoked salmon penne and the veal hands down won. I just tried a piece of Emily's chicken parmesan, and that is just so consistently good. I've had a piece of it every single time I've come. Every single time, it's so good. Really good. Going back to the smoked salmon penne though, it's a really good dish when you have enough fish. My biggest critique on this one is it doesn't have enough fish. When you have a bite of the smoked salmon, it's there. You can even taste the smoked salmon that I was talking about before. You can really taste it. But when you throw in a noodle or two, that starts to disappear. And so I tried it with a big piece of fish and a little bit of noodle, and that was where I was at. So again, my biggest complaint there, not enough smoked salmon for that whole big dish of pasta. I mean, it's called the smoked salmon penne pasta, so you would think there'd be more smoked salmon, but that's okay. Couldn't leave here without trying the lasagna, so we did order a side of the lasagna too.
This is my first time trying the lasagna, and it is very delicious, very creamy and smooth, lots of really good flavors. The noodles are cooked perfectly. I just ate it back to back with my Parmesan chicken, and I will say that is the best dish of this entire cruise. It just beats everything else I've had, and I've had some really, really good dishes. My recommendation, I know it seems like a simple dish, Parmesan chicken, you can make that at home. I cannot make this at home, but I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to try to make this at home.
If I'm gonna rank my brunch today, it's gonna be that chicken parm. And then it's going to be the lasagna, and then it's going to be the veal. Very close. I mean, like, we're talking, those three were really, really good. The veal and the lasagna, practically neck and neck, and the chicken parm, just by barely. And I say that because of the consistency. Like I mentioned before, anytime I come here and get this, it's always been outstanding. Always been just the best. And yes, like Emily said, the best entree that we've had the entire 7 nights here. Very, very delicious. The dessert is here. We both have the pistachio cake. It has a little bit of sponge cake on the side, but you gotta try that pistachio cake with a little bit of that raspberry tart that they put on the top. But honestly, you could eat this cake by yourself and it's amazing. I also had the lemon salad, as they call it. But they do have some grapefruit and some oranges on the side with a little bit of Rice Krispie on top. Emily with the raspberry chocolate crunch tart. Looks pretty good there. They even had a little sparkling glitter throughout the Palo white chocolate stamp piece that they have on top there. Swirled with chocolate sauce on the bottom. All of it looks absolutely fantastic. First bite of the lemon tart by itself, just by itself first. By itself, not as good as that lemon icebox pie. It's okay, I'm not gonna lie. This one's just okay. The density is right, but I don't know, there's something missing from this one. Now let's get into the pistachio cake. Now on my last cruise, this was by far my favorite dessert of the trip. Let's see if it's as good as I remember. That is just so good. So good. The density of it, the surprise of the little tiny crunch in there. It's just so good. It's not like you're eating nuts. It's just, I know, right? I know. It's not like you're eating nuts. Because you hear the word pistachio cake and you see the green, you're like, ugh. No, this is really, really good.
I am pleasantly surprised by this raspberry chocolate crunch tart. The chocolate is a bittersweet ganache, but it actually tastes more on the darker side. I am just pleasantly surprised by it. It is sweet, but that bitter sweet chocolate in there, it just gives it a little bit more of a depth that I wasn't expecting, and so I actually really love this, but I gotta jump back over and try more of that pistachio cake.
Alright, so Palo interview. Just finished my pistachio cake, and I gotta say, yes, I finished it all. When you spread that raspberry sauce, that raspberry cream across the pistachio cake, it adds that perfect touch of bitter and sweet to that cake. It is the way to go. I mean, honestly, it's my favorite dessert on board now 2 times in a row, and probably will be until they change menus. Well done on dessert, Palo. In review for the whole meal. Antipastas were solid. They were good. I do miss the selection you got from the buffets though. There's clearly a lack of selection, especially if you're used to coming here pre-COVID. I do like the idea of being able to sit at the table and the waiter bringing things to you. That's nice. Makes it feel a little bit more elegant. You're not like at a buffet, you know, but this I can get on board with. I just really want some of those selections back that they had pre-COVID. Moving on to the soup. So soup was great. The eggs Benedict, the smoked salmon was amazing. And being able to try those entrees. Each of those entrees were really, really good. The chicken parmesan, just hands down the best. It's just so good to have that risotto with all the cheese and the sauce and just the most tender chicken, breaded so well, cooked to perfection, just every single time. Consistency on that one. You can show up to Palo on any day and come out with that chicken parm and have an amazing meal. So by far the best entree this trip, and then topping with desserts, which we just talked about. That just a consistent, solid way to finish your whole meal is with that pistachio cake.
Definitely loved this meal. Robert and I were talking earlier about what was our favorite meal of the cruise, and we both agreed Remy feels like it's just a different category. It's not just sit down, meal, pick an entree. It definitely is more of an experience that we both loved. Obviously that's not something you're going to be doing daily, but it was a great experience, but definitely our favorite meal of the cruise. So definitely I would say this is the best meal of the entire cruise. Selection was amazing. It had a variety of things that you don't typically get at the rotational dining, and just a nice atmosphere and something different to do a brunch instead of just our typical meals that we've had. Now that we're insanely full though, we've got to run and go get the kids from the kids club, and then the saddest part of the cruise is starting to pack on this last day at sea.
Holy smokes. It's been about 2.5 hours, but we're officially packed. I think I completely underestimated how much time it was going to take. I figured an hour or so, but about 2.5 hours to pack all 5 of us up with all our souvenirs, not only from this trip, but you know, we had the Disney World trip before this, but we're all packed up. Now it's time for our last dinner aboard the Disney Fantasy for this trip. We're going to be heading down to Royal Court for our last dinner here aboard the Disney Fantasy. So I'm excited for tonight. I don't think I've had the second round menu here at Royal Palace or Royal Court for that matter, so I'm anxious to see what's new.
Did you see me though? 'Cause I sure put on a show. I'm dancing on the tables and I got a taste for.
We're seated here in the Royal Court, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a seafood kind of night tonight. I haven't had like a real good seafood meal yet. Not that I have my favorite main dining dish was seafood, but I'm just going to make this one all about seafood. And for those who don't like seafood, I'm going to just make sure I include whether or not, if you're feeling adventurous or not, if this is something you should try, or if you're just trying to get into seafood, or maybe just skip it altogether. Anyways, for the appetizer, we're going to try the marinated tiger shrimp. For the salad tonight, we're going to try the lemon fennel salad. It comes with green peas, smoked salmon, smoked trout, and creme fraiche. I don't know if I'm 100% saying that right, but it does sound absolutely delicious. And for the main course tonight, we are going to be going for the oven-baked lobster tail and the roasted red snapper. I'm really anxious to try both of them. More so the lobster tail, because I don't really typically order lobster tail unless I'm on a cruise, because let's face it, lobster tail is very expensive elsewhere. So we're going to give it a shot here. And sticking with a little bit of a tradition here for dessert, I'll be going for the oven-baked old-fashioned apple pie, served warm with vanilla ice cream. I think I'm going to try one more just to say I gave it a shot. We're going to go for the no sugar added menu here. We're going to go for the chocolate cheesecake. It's kind of good. I do like here and there having some no sugar added desserts, but I really just want to try this one. It sounded good, and I also like that idea of that apple pie as well. So we're just going to try both and let you know how it goes. Okie dokie. We are going to be trying the oysters here. They look very good as far as oysters go. Got these breadcrumbs on it. Looks pretty good here, so let's just go for it. If you're ever worried about oysters or mussels, having these breadcrumbs on it to give you a little crunch completely makes it much more easy and more palatable for those who are a little worried about it. Like having that crunch, you get away from that rubbery texture. So now it's time for the marinated tiger shrimp. As you can see, it doesn't have the appearances of anything but an ordinary shrimp. It looks pretty simple, but first by itself, it's not a strong marinade, but you can definitely tell you're not eating plain shrimp. It is very good. Here's the flannel salad with the smoked salmon and the smoked trout with a little dollop of sour cream on it. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought to put sour cream with that, but I'm gonna just kind of mix it around and give it a taste here. Let's see how it goes. The salmon, as I stir the plate, the dish, is coming right apart. All right, so here we go, the first bite with all the fixings mixed up together. It's pretty good. Very well done. When it comes to smoked fish, I do like having that smoked flavor. This one has it. This one has it really well. Yeah, just solid. That sour cream mixed in there, I thought was gonna be a clashing taste. Honestly, I'm pleasantly surprised. It's very good. Well done. I mean, I just flavors that I would not have expected to go together are going together perfectly. All right, so real quick, I just want to check in with the 3 things that I've tried so far: the shrimp, the oysters, and the salmon and trout flannel. I want to check in and let you know, for those people who are adventurous or feeling adventurous for trying seafood, if you are ever going to try oysters and are worried about the texture, this is the one to try because of the crumbs that they put with it. For sure, if you want to try oysters for your first time, not a bad way to start. The smoked salmon and smoked trout salad, that's going to have more of your fishy taste. I may not recommend that for like the beginner who is into seafood for the first time. The shrimp, honestly, I always recommend shrimp for somebody trying the seafood for the first time, or maybe somebody's feeling adventurous. Just because it's easy. The texture's easy to get down. It doesn't have that overbearing fish smell. Any type of shrimp or crab or lobster even, those are typically your best ones to start with when it comes to trying seafood, because they don't have, like I mentioned, they don't have that fishy taste or smell. It's just a good way to ease into it. As you can see here, the lobster is brought out to us, and my oh my, does it look amazing. We had one of the head waiters come over and de-shell it for us. He was very generous. Yeah, this looks really good. Like I said before, I just typically don't get lobster tail. While I do love it, it's just so expensive to get when you're not in a restaurant on a Disney cruise or on any cruise for that matter. Just a tiny piece of fish around here. That's really good. The meat itself has the same kind of texture and consistency of a shrimp or a scallop. It's really good. All right, so now it's time to try the red snapper there. The bowl of sauce that it comes in, it's got a lemony, buttery zest to it. It's pretty good. The fish itself, however, if it's not completely soaked in that sauce, I'm not impressed. It's got to be completely soaked in that sauce to be able for me to finish it, but I'm just a little surprised by that. Usually the fish that I've gotten on this trip has been excellent, except for right now. So, in review here, I did not finish the red snapper. It was not good. I think it was the first big miss when it comes to seafood on the Disney cruise. Even the lobster, I did finish the lobster. I was slightly unimpressed with that as well. It was lacking flavor. Honestly, I tried pouring some lemon juice on it and mixing with some of the potatoes that it had. Nothing I've had in my possession was helping. Unfortunately, the seafood tonight was, man, the smoked salmon and trout, that salad, that was really good. Really good. The shrimp was good and the oysters were good too, but the 2 main entrees for the seafood that I got tonight, I just feel like we missed a little bit today. That's okay. I mean, not everyone can be a winner, and I'll try the lobster tail again in the future. Maybe it was just this one that I had, but honestly, it's a little disappointing, but nothing that we can't get over. Okay, so just found out there was supposed to be some butter served with the lobster that I did not get. My parents both got a little cup of butter that you're supposed to dip your lobster in, and that really freshens things up. I didn't get it, so I'm going to pause my judgment. The lobster by itself was just meh, but I know a buttery lobster is like 10 times better. So next time I will be getting another lobster tail so we can really give it a fair try the way the chef intends to have it eaten. So, all right, so that dessert is here now. Let's try the no sugar added chocolate cheesecake first. When it comes to no sugar added, you're always a little wary, but this one does present nicely. It's pretty good. Okay, surprisingly enough, that is actually really good. Even for chocolate cheese, no sugar added chocolate cheesecake. I like that one. Now let's try this little apple pie, the signature dessert. I am a fan of the way this apple pie is presented and the way it tastes. I do like the texture and consistency of it. It's not your traditional like Marie Callender's apple pie. It's more of like an apple puree with some chunks of apple in there. It's really good though. I mean, it's not bad at all. I do want to try it with a little bit of ice cream they paired with it. A little bit there. That is really good. That's a good dessert. Good way to finish the night. It's not like outstanding as far as the best desserts ever, but it's solid. It's a good way to finish the night for sure.
All right, everybody, that was dinner, and actually we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, guys. It has been an absolute pleasure being able to have you aboard with us for this 7-night journey aboard the Disney Fantasy with the Star Wars Day at Sea. Honestly, things could have gone better. So what I have here is I have the comment card. Each cruise you're gonna get one of these, and I do my best to just be completely honest when it comes to these. Our serving staff for our dinners have been absolutely fantastic, amazing. Our stateroom, our mousekeeper, has been wonderful. But Disney Cruise Line, I feel like kind of dropped the ball, and I'm going to be honest, and I'll do some reviews in some future episodes. Disney Cruise Line, I feel like they dropped the ball on this one just a little bit, and so I'm going to be honest on this comment card, and you make sure you do so, because when you turn these in, they really do look at these surveys, especially when they see something out of the ordinary. Not to say we didn't have a magical time. We did. We had a fantastic time. The kids, I know they had a good time. I know Emily had a good time. So it's been really, really fun to see them on their first cruise, to go to a different country, to experience things that you don't get to experience if you stay at home and sit on your couch. So that being said, it's been a great time. It absolutely has. But we are going to pack the camera because we have a long day of travel ahead of us tomorrow, and we're going to make sure that everybody is paying attention, and we're going to just have a little bit more family time before we get home and return to normal life. With that being said, if you guys have found any value in what you've seen today on this trip or any of our other vlogs, definitely consider liking and subscribing, because it really would help our channel out, and you're not going to want to miss out on our future content that we have coming your way. I really do appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you real soon, and remember, adventure is out there.